Hello all.
Hello.
Dear, please accept our greetings, take your seats now, and please turn your microphones off. We are, as the members of İZMIR Democracy University, ELT Student Club, proudly hosting our first online session on What Makes a Good EFL Teacher by Professor Dr. ARİF SARIÇOBAN from SELÇUK University.
Now we will give you some brief information about the session. The moderator is Dr. NURDAN KAVAKLI, who is also our academic advisor at ELT department. The session is about 20-25 minutes long, and the QA sessions will be held by QA managers me, ALEYNA, ABUŞKA, and DENİZ DİNÇ. You may prefer to write your questions. Don't worry, we'll be checking chat box, or you may use your mics if eligible. But beforehand, let's take a family photo. Please turn your cameras on.
ALEYNA, maybe we can take it at the end of the session, huh?
Okay.
For us to start at the beginning. Okay.
Now we would like to kindly invite Dr. NURDAN KAVAKLI to start off the very first session. Thank you.
Hello, hi. It's me, NURDAN KAVAKLI. And we know that coronavirus is everywhere, but it may never tear us apart. Thanks to my dear students, we have organized such a big, creative, innovative, and very fruitful event. It's going to be like a series of online seminars, which are actually going to be like webinars. And I don't want to take too much time as my guest is waiting there. ELT e-talk series will start with my dear professor from my old school PhD years at Hacettepe University, and now he's my colleague. Therefore, it's my honor and privilege to leave the stage to my dear Professor Dr. ARİF SARIÇOBAN from SELÇUK University to present his topic on the 21st century EFL teacher competencies. So let's see what makes a good EFL teacher. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to present a couple of thanks to İZMIR Democracy University, Faculty of Education and Department of ELT, all the personnel, staff and students, for inviting me to do this webinar, a lovely webinar, and we're going to have a very enjoyable hours, I think, and moments, I think. And thank you very much, NURDAN. You are really great, and that shows us how much we relied on you, on accepting you to our PhD program, and that is, yes, that's the evidence. And thank you, ALEYNA and DENİZ, for your such beautiful words to present me. And you all know me, friends, and I would like to talk about the 21st century ELT teacher competencies tonight within the allocated time. And I would like to start with, what types of competencies a good EFL teacher, let's say, should possess. And now let me remind you them one by one. In this respect, we can first mention teachers' subject area or field competencies, professional competencies, socio-cultural competencies, research competencies. We are talking about teachers as researchers in the classroom, curriculum competencies, lifelong learning competencies, emotional competencies, because we are all human beings, and communication competencies, information and communication technologies, ICT, what I mean here, competencies, and of course, the environmental competencies. Now, I'm going to very briefly try to define you what those competencies are and why they are important for us, for language teachers, as being the language teachers in the classrooms. I would like to start with first the field competencies, without which, what we're going to talk about and what we're going to teach in the classroom, that's what should school teach to us. Because within the general framework, it is the school and the classrooms, the teachers and the students are involved in where the learning and teaching process take place, here the most important thing is the content, what to teach, okay? Is it appropriate for our students? Is it really a need for our students? So every other questions could be involved within this field competencies. You know, the topics, do you think that the topics will meet the needs of our students, okay? And the second one, the professional competencies, that's all about the ability of teachers, ability to create an effective learning environment. That's what we always focus on, and being able to use and utilize the instructional methods, strategies, techniques, and if we activities, you know, and if we would like to be aware, really aware of their appropriacy to the subject matter under discussion, or we are trying to teach to our students. And next, being able to utilize the materials in hand, okay, or given to us, the resources and the technologies provided in the school environment or in the classrooms to provide meaningful learning, you know, meaningful, effective, fruitful learning. And the next competency that I'm going to focus on is the social cultural competencies. What do we mean by the social cultural competencies? This is the knowledge about social cultural background of students and teachers, you know, and their local, national, and international values that we should take into account. And the democracy and human rights, on the other hand, you know, all the issues within democracy and human rights, and team and collaborative work with others, you know, in the classroom, and of course, team and collaborative work with the society. And that's why we conduct some social studies as well. So next is the research competencies, and we are all insisting on that teachers should be also, you know, researchers in the classroom. That's action research. And what do we mean by this? It is being able to use research methods and techniques, design and carry out research, you know, via collaboration with colleagues and other specialists and, you know, and or people in the field of study or in their field of study. The next competency that I would like to talk about, mention, is the curriculum competencies. You know, the curriculum competencies can be considered into two, you know, subheadings, or it is all about two types. We have curriculum development competencies on the one hand, and on the other hand, we have curriculum implementation competencies. There are two key words here. One is development, the other is implement. So, you know, unless you implement something that you develop, it's, you know, nothing. You cannot reach your goals at the end. You cannot get the desired outcomes at the very end unless you implement them in the classroom and see the results, because you're going to get some kind of findings on which or about which you're going to speculate and interpret for your teaching and learning situation in the classroom. And curriculum competencies, yes, it is, you know, these are all about the knowledge and the skills in some important issues as designing is how to design your classroom, how to design your own plan, okay, lesson plan, let's say, and being able to utilize some kind of models, approaches, and selecting and organizing the content, and the planning, teaching, and learning activities, and most importantly, to see your own outcomes, of course, testing and assessment at the very end. You should see what is your outcome either positively or negatively. It doesn't matter. If it is negative, it tells you much and much, you know, to revise your own teaching, right? It gives you the opportunity to control yourself, self-control. And lifelong learning competencies, that's what I like really most. It's all about the teacher's responsibilities. We as teachers in the classroom, we are all responsible for, okay, for our own, there is a, spelling mistake here, for their own learning and development of life learning skills for their own students, for students in general, not all their own students, because other students also are going to benefit what you do, okay, and what you plan and what you develop and improve, and also help learners in general to become responsible for their own learning. So we should help our students. We should guide our students, okay, to be responsible for their own learning. So I'm going to talk about this a few moments later also. Then, most importantly, as I said, we are all human beings. And what I mean here by saying we are all human beings, I would like to talk about emotional competencies, you know, that refers to both. Never ignore teachers and students. They are the two important parties in the classroom situation. With all those emotional feelings, values, okay, morals, beliefs, attitudes, anxieties, motivation, and empathy. And please focus on the last, okay, on the last word, that's empathy. Try to have empathy with your students and see how they are learning. And for this reason, any foreign language teacher, either English teacher, German teacher, or French teacher, should immediately start learning another second language. If it is German, if you are an English teacher, learn French, learn German, okay, to have empathy with your students, how they learn, what problems they encounter in their learning process. So it will give you lots of clues, hints about the possible obstacles in their learning, okay, about the challenges that hinder their own learning, because you're going to experience the same kind of challenges if you learn a second language, you know. And as you all know, for academicians, it is a must for us to learn a second language. And I learned German at the age of 40s, you know, in my 40s. Now, I'm not going to tell you, how old I am right now. Communication competencies, that's another important competency that we would like to focus on. Communication models. Be a good model, okay, in front of your students through your communication skills, through your communication competencies, okay? So you need to be very careful about your fluency, accuracy, pronunciation, all other, elements and issues that you're going to display in front of us. And action among teachers, you should interact with other teachers. You should discuss the problems that you encounter in your own classroom, because they may encounter the same kind of problem, and share ideas and opinions and discuss them to find out the most possible or probable, the most possible, solution to those problems. And interaction among students, try to provide students with some kind of opportunities to interact with themselves, Usually, the classroom interaction is from the teacher to the students in Turkish classrooms. Forget about this. And we have teacher-student student teacher, and sometimes some intelligible students, some intelligent students, let's say, try to ask some questions to the teacher. This is student teacher, but what about student-student interaction? So we have three-dimensional. We should have three-dimensional interactions. We should establish this in our classroom. Teacher-student, student-teacher, and student-student interaction. Let them use the language, otherwise they are going to lose their language. Which one is important? Use your language or lose your language? I prefer using language, using English language in the classroom, you know. And that's why interaction among students are also important, and they will, you know, get help from each other, and they will see the, you know, most effective language use when they do it together. And the social environment and also the learning topics are another important issues for communication competencies, okay? We are all social creatures, you know, okay? And our learning topics must refer to our own needs. As language teachers, we should be very careful about choosing the topics that we're going to discuss with our students in the classroom. I don't know if I am too fast, Nurdan Hoca, or slow. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, by the way.
It is better for us to be as fast as possible because, you know, we have just limited time, so it is good.
All right.
Okay.
All right. It's good then, right? It's good. Okay.
Yes, it's good.
For the Instagram also, Instagram followers. Okay. Information and communication technologies competencies. That's what we abbreviate as ICT technologies. This is all about the use of technology. But the use of technology for what? For first, managing and processing the information. It's easy through technology, you know. It's not the same in the old days when we were learning English language. And the use of technology for manipulation and communication of information in the learning and teaching process. The classroom atmosphere competencies, that's another point that I like most, because it refers to teachers' abilities, you know, to create an effective learning environment, including what? The sitting arrangement, okay? So the U shape, the semicircle shape, okay, not the traditional ones. The order in the classroom. Lighting also affects the language learning process. The central heating system, if it doesn't work during winter months, you know, and the peripheral learning environment, all pictures and other charts on the walls in the classroom, they all help, okay, learning to take place easily within the classroom situations. So these are all the competencies, but are they enough? No, never, you know. We have always never in quotation in our profession. It's not enough. So in addition to all these mentioned competencies, teachers should possess the knowledge, the skills, and responsibilities required by the Ministry of National Education, MONE in my own acronym in Turkey. So what are these then, you know? A, the first one, personal and professional values. This, you know, professional development. This is all about professional development. Getting to know students, learning teaching process, tracking learning, improve innovation, relations among school, family, and society. We have a triangle. It is just like Bermuda Triangle in my wordings, you know, in my terms. School, family, society, and program and content knowledge. Now let's see the first one, personal and professional values. That's all about professional development. But here, the teachers again have some important responsibilities. They should, first, value their students as individuals, okay? I have some key words here. Please try to keep them in your mind all throughout your profession, all throughout your academic studies, all throughout your teaching process. Value your students as individuals. We are all human beings. And respect them, okay? Respect them and have empathy with them that I talked about. Respect, another important point. To be able to respect others, you should first respect yourself as language teachers, whether or not you perform your teaching duty, okay? Well enough, desired enough in the classroom. And they should become aware of their learning process to guide them to do what? To learn how to learn. And nowadays, in this globalized world, you know, learning on one's own, it's really easy. Is the meeting over? Would you please check Zoom?
Let me check. It's going to be like we have 2 or 3 minutes left. Could you please repeat?
Okay, then I'm going to give them as headings, you know, okay, getting to know your students.
Maybe
okay.
You can go on your Instagram account so that you can take some kind of questions.
Again?
Maybe
I didn't hear you.
Okay, maybe we can continue this session after we end it up here on Zoom, so that at your Instagram account you can take some kind of questions.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
So, all right, then just the headings: learning, teaching process, plan, design, provide effective learning environment, track learning, improvement and learning, relations among school, family and society. Why? Because learning is not only limited to classroom environment, and the needs of the society should be taken into consideration. Program and content knowledge, and we have some important approaches, you know, pretty good approaches, pretty good techniques approaches, which will help us to solve the problems. And we started with first the classical approach, then contemporary approaches came onto the stage, cause and effect approach, preventive approach, developmental approach, and integrative approach we can all mention, you know. And for all these approaches, I can send this slide to those who want them. Most important, I would like to talk about the differentiated instruction, because a teacher, a capable, a skillful teacher can differentiate his classroom environment, you know, in terms of their learners' needs, interests, and individual differences, only because each student has his or her own learning strategies and styles, you know. And here is the differentiated instruction model. Teachers can differentiate, okay? Teachers can differentiate the content, the process, the product, according to what? According to the student's readiness, interests, learning profile. To do what? Why? To increase here, you know, I can talk about to increase the growth, and for motivation, to increase motivation and to increase efficiency in the classroom, you know. So here, what I would like to say, the last word, you know, and we have some teacher training programs, pre-service foreign language teaching training programs. These programs should emphasize the importance of these competencies in a relevant course, such as language teaching, methodology, or classroom management. If the new program, you know, gives place to those, I don't know, because I'm in the ELL department for 4 years. Moreover, in service teacher training activities should be, you know, and designed for novice teachers as well. And in any of these programs, teachers should be aware of how they can differentiate their classroom to create an effective learning environment. So solely, you know, they can have a very effective classroom management process. They can manage their classrooms effectively. That's what I would like to say as a whole in today's webinar, Nurdan.
Thank you very much.
you're always welcome. If we have time, I can get questions.
Maybe it is better for us to take a family photo so that there are approximately 88 participants right now. So it is nice to see everyone's faces. So could you please open your cams if it is eligible for you? Then we can move on to taking some kind of questions. It seems that the time is extended. So maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions at Zoom, and maybe we can go on the session at your Instagram account. But now it is time for family picture, I guess.
Is it okay? Do you see me?
We can see you. So what about the other participants? Could you please open your cams if it is proper for you? Okay, I can see lots of faces. So I'm trying to take a big SS right now. So if you can do, you can also take, because I'm not sure if mine is better than yours. So let me take a big picture. Smile then. Thank you very much. So it is time for questions. We have a little bit time for taking at least 2 or 3 questions, and the QA sessions will be managed by my dear students, ALEYNA and DENİZ. So I'm going to leave the stage to them so that they can follow.
So thank you very much for your attention. Now it is time for Q&A session. Shoot your questions or recommendations if you have any. You can also ask your questions in Turkish as well. Also, please check Mr. ARİF's Instagram live session. So if you have any further questions, you can ask them there.
So do you have any questions? Any more comments? It seems not. So ALEYNA, could you please go on?
Okay, thank you. The session continues live on Professor's Instagram account, SARIÇOBAN ARİF. You may continue watching from there and ask your questions. Our very special thanks go to Professor Dr. ARİF SARIÇOBAN. Let's meet on Instagram. Bye for now.
Big applause is going for you. Thank you, Hocam, so much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, to be with you today. And thanks for all of you. Okay, especially for you, NURDAN, and your team, ALEYNA, DENİZ, okay, and our guests. They have, I think, listened to me very patiently enough.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
No
See you. Bye.
By the way, the session was recorded, and we are going to share it one by one. Please do not hesitate to contact us for any kind of further inquiries. And we are going to share you the calendar on a weekly basis so that you can see our other keynote speakers. So please follow us on Instagram. And my students are controlling the Instagram account, which is named as IDU-ELT. So you can also check our updates. Okay, bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Thank you all.
You're always welcome.